Good morning, good morning, good morning, good people, fellow humans, because that's what we are, colorful nuts. Today is Sunday, March 8th. Wow, this month is flying by. March 8th, 2026. And this is Department of Career Services. My name is Edward Bevilacqua. We are here to help our students and other interested people on their journey through this life. Right. So, yeah, that's it. We're here to help. Yeah, we do it through four distinct things. We focus physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. This morning, I was thinking perhaps what we should do is take a second and figure out which of those four do we need the most work on. Is it physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually? And my hunch would be for most people, it would be the, oops. Pretty much, I would say pretty much all of them. Oops. Gotta take a second out. We'll fix that in editing. Got a little bit of a late start this morning because what? Good morning, Maticus von Atticus. We've got a little bit of a late start this morning. Actually, we didn't get a late start this morning. I spent more time on them doing this, more time on the Peloton. You know, that's the problem. So as my body gets in better shape and I can do more, I take more time. Right. And as I take more time, that means I have less time to do everything else to get this ready by 6. So I got to figure out what to do. I don't really just want to do more intensity. That would be the other thing. Same amount of time, more intensity. But I'm kind of satisfied with my intensity growth and focus on endurance. There we go. So we've got the coffee in the mug, the olive oil in the cup. Let's make sure that my cup does not runneth over. And today is laundry day. That's the other thing. I have to get my stuff in the laundry. What does that mean? Well, that means I have to wash my clothes, my sheets and stuff. So that was the other sort of delay. Anyway, this will all be out in editing, but the people who are watching it live, great. Okay, so I was looking for you. So what were you looking for me for, Maticus von Atticus? And let's see what else is going on here. Let's look at our advice from an 80-year-old. Advice from an 80-year-old. That's not the right advice from an 80-year-old. Oh, it is the right advice. Always accept an outstretched hand. Our Themo-memo is Waiteba. What you think about, you bring about. Waiteba. Blaine Elkers. What you think about, you bring about. That goes back to the reticular activating system. What you think about, you bring about. We're going to learn about that. Let's see. So we did our advice from an 80-year-old, always accept an outstretched hand. Let's go to Seth Godin, confused about donations. But before we do that, let's talk about, this is day 7 of week 2. Week 2, day 7. Our neuroscience-oriented approach to success. Day 2, week 7. That means next week we start week 3, or tomorrow we start week 3 outside my skull-sized kingdom. This is inside my skull-sized kingdom. Next is going to be outside my skull-sized kingdom. Blaine Elkers today, but let's see what Seth Godin has to say about confused about donations. A suite at a New York Knicks game cost more than $30,000. Is that a donation to the team? Why do we differentiate between the money spent on a Super Bowl ticket and the check we write for a worthy cause? Does calling it a donation make it more valuable or less valuable to us? Fundraisers can fall into the trap of believing that they're asking for a favor or begging for a donation. But human beings, like all creatures, exchange time, money, or risk in return for something. When that exchange is insufficient to cause action, we don't do it. The anonymous donor gets something priceless, memorable, and worthwhile, peace of mind. The public donor, whether it's the neighbor buying a raffle ticket for the Scout fundraiser or the bigwig on the board of a museum, there's something as well. They get something as well. The status and connection they buy is a bargain worth more than it costs. In fact, if it wasn't worth more than it cost, they wouldn't buy it. The fundraiser isn't asking for a favor. They're offering an opportunity. Interesting. Maybe there's a little twist on that. Twist. You buy raffle tickets to go to the thrift store. Everybody's a winner. Local ball team. Kids do a raffle. You go online to see what you want. Okay, well, here we are. Let's go through it. Let's go through it. This week, inside our skull-sized kingdom is where we learn how the brain works. We focus on 3 things. Neurons, where our anticipated future, lived past, ability to simulate personality, things like that are stored in our brain. How do we know? How do we know they're not stored in our heart or somewhere else? Because when we damage our brain, they go away. Right. Okay. So those things are stored in our neurons, cells in our brain. How do the cells work? Well, they involve chemicals, neurotransmitters that are transferred from neuron to neuron. And long chains of these are where our memories are stored. How do we know? Because now we can measure these chemicals in the brain. And we can see the chemical composition of people who are mentally healthy and people who are not mentally healthy. And then we can regulate that to an extent. If you're low on serotonin, we can give you serotonin. When I say we, I don't mean me, meaning I just mean science. And then we try to explain, since we only have a week, there's very little we can do, but we try to explain this idea of connecting our goals to our brain. Where are our goals stored in our brain? Where's the reward or the feedback loops and the mechanism to get us to keep doing things? And that's in the reticular activating system. So we learned that's constantly scanning all information available to us, meaning we can hear it, see it, smell it, taste it, touch it. All information available to us, it's constantly scanning that in order to support our beliefs. Today's talk with Blaine Elkers, he gets into programming your RAS. And he breaks it down very simply with the metaphors like, think of your brain like a garden, and you're a gardener. And you need to get whatever you plant is what you will reap. If you plant carrots, you're not going to get corn. You're going to get carrots. If you don't want corn, don't plant corn. If the wind somehow blows the corn in and it takes root, you need to get it out. So that kind of is a good thing to, something to read. This is going to be the prayer for Thursday night. Portia Nelson, autobiography in 5 chapters. 1, I walk down the street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I am lost. I am hopeless. It isn't my fault. It takes forever to find a way out. Chapter 2, I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same place, but it isn't my fault. It still takes a long time to get out. Chapter 3, I walk down the same street. There is still a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it is there. I still fall in. It is a habit. My eyes are open. I know where I am. It is my fault. I get out immediately. Chapter 4, I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. Chapter 5, I walk down another street. That's my life in 5 autobiography in 5 chapters. Portia Nelson. Aha. Okay. You were late with your podcast. Yes. If you listen to it, you know why. But only a couple minutes. Okay. Why Taba? I don't know why. What you think about, you bring about. Why? Well, because we have a part in our brain that is designed or has evolved to be able to do that. So if there's a thing we are interested in, it's important to us. Our brain is constantly scanning for that. And the example we typically give is our name, right? Because we're taught at a young age, by people like our mother, if I say your name, don't make me come looking for you. You need to respond. You need to come when I call. You need to acknowledge you hear me, etc. Because it's dangerous. Bad things can happen. So we get conditioned. We get socialized. When our name is spoken, it gets our attention. Same thing with smells. Certain smells are bad and they equal danger. Other smells are not bad. We like them, like cinnamon and butter and sugar melting. That causes us to get hungry and want to eat. Okay? Or maybe a steak. Who knows? Whatever it is, there are things that trigger us. Sounds. If you're out in the woods and you hear a rattle sound, that is going to get your attention. Sights. You're driving down the road, eating a cheeseburger, singing a song, talking on the radio, or talking on your phone all at the same time. Unconsciously driving, red light goes on in front of you, and you're back into the moment. Okay? That is the reticular activating system. It is not the law of attraction. You go into a bar to pick up chicks, and you happen to turn and you see somebody's looking at you. You've programmed your RAS to be looking for someone, so it's very important to find people that are looking at you. It doesn't mean you felt them looking at you. It doesn't mean you looked at them because they were staring at you. You didn't feel their glare. You just believed you would feel their glare or their look if they were doing that. Right. So if we understand, once again, if we understand how the reticular activating system works, we can dial it in. And Blaine Elkers breaks it down very well. What you think about, you bring about. If you think about negative things, you bring about negative things. Why? Because the reticular activating system is constantly scanning all information to support your belief. So if your belief is negative and dark, that's what it's going to pull up. If you think there are spirits, demons hiding behind every bush, that's what you're going, whenever there's a bush that rattles, you're going to think there's a ghost or a spirit, something bad behind it. We need to program our RAS for positive, nurturing, good stuff. Then what will happen? Our reticular activating system is going to be constantly scanning for all the information available to us, and we're scanning for what? Good stuff. We're scanning for good stuff. Right. Don't project negative. So we go back to Amy Cuddy, right? Body language. Don't project negative. Because people who are looking for negative, who have programmed their RAS for the negative, they're going to hit on that and they're going to associate you with the negative. Not good. Bad plan, bad strategy. Project the positive. So that will be picked up by the RAS and other people who are looking for positive. Now, unfortunately, people who are looking for the negative could see you, and you're trying to project the positive, but they're looking for the negative because they've heard something negative. And what happens? You get associated with the negative. So you don't want to get into that. And the hole in the sidewalk. You have fallen into the sidewalk. You don't want to be there. Okay, well, today I have to go to church, 7:30 Lutheran Church, then 9 o'clock Assemblies of God, then 10 o'clock I have the Methodist Church, then off to New Hope, then meeting with the WDJAS project Peepholes. Good system. Okay, so we are about out of time. Tomorrow we start with outside our skull-sized kingdom. How do we get people to be the crew on our boat to help us get to where we want? We'll see you tomorrow morning. Bonk.